speaker. Hello, hello, hello. Make sure my speakers is up. Hello, hello, hello. How y'all doing? Coffee. Hello, hello, hello. Let me know who's joining me tonight. How y'all doing? How are you all doing? Oh, let me do my welcome post. How are you all doing? Let me know who's here. Hello, hello, hello. How are y'all doing? The current key. Trying to learn all these platforms, y'all. Y'all doing all right on this beautiful Thursday? Hello, hello, hello. I don't have any music playing because Facebook be muting me and stuff, so I can't play music. I don't know how to play music without it muting me or turning me off, so I don't have any music in the background. So I don't know how everybody else does. I normally say put the the statement where I don't own the rights to the music, but they still mute me. So I have no idea how to get that on there without being, how to play music in the background without being muted. So if anybody knows how, please let me know what I need to do. I don't know if I need to be bigger, have more followers. I don't know, but I don't know. So let me know who's here. I can't really see who's on. I see people popping on and off, but I can't really see. So let me know who's joining me tonight on this beautiful Thursday. Let me know, let me know. On this awesome topic. My shirt, PCMinistries, talking teas. Hello, hello. Started in a few minutes, 8:05-ish. What is today? Today is the 15th. Hello, hello, hello. How y'all doing? Hey, Felicia. Glad you're joining, girl. Thank you for tuning in and engaging. I know people saw my post. People thought I was mad. I wasn't mad. It was just like I saw somebody do that on Instagram, and they were just encouraging people to help their page grow by engaging with them. And I actually copied that. I didn't do it the same verbatim, but the style of that, I've been posting for weeks, and people, be getting on. I said, I need y'all to come on every day, log in every day and support your girl. So no, that wasn't an angry post. That was more of a fun but encouraging post to, ask you all to help my page grow by engaging and sharing and stuff like that. And I'll do the same for you as I do. So that's what that post was about. That was not an angry post, y'all. I'm not an angry person at all. Hey, Philip, how are you? How y'all doing over there? I know this is your baking season. I got both of my pages. I got my personal page on my computer, and I have PC Ministries up on my phone. So I'm going like this, and then I got my notes on my other screen. So I'm gonna be doing like this tonight. I'm glad you all are joining me. We're gonna get started in a few minutes. We got an awesome topic. The power of forgiveness. There is power in forgiveness. Believe it or not, there is power in forgiveness. So I'm glad you all are tuning in. A lot of people, a lot of us are dealing with unforgiveness. Can y'all hear me? Let me know if y'all can hear me and send me some stars. I don't know what that means. What do the stars mean, y'all? What do the stars mean? If you're looking on my PC, I think Felicia, you on PC Ministries page, send me some stars. I don't know what that means. I need one of my daughters to tell me what that means. But can y'all hear me? Let me know if y'all can hear me good enough. Give me a thumbs up or hand clap or some hearts or something. Let me know y'all can hear me. And I will get started. Please let me know y'all can hear me. Okay. Let me know if y'all can hear me. Thank you all for tuning in. Nobody's saying anything. Let me know if you can hear me so I can get started. I don't think I'm froze or anything like that. But we're going to get started. Let me know who's in the comments. Let me know who you are and where you're listening from. Can y'all hear me? Let me put my glasses on so I'm going to be looking blurry. Get started in a couple of minutes. Won't be on long. Forgiveness is a tough subject. Forgiveness is not easy. Trust me, I know. It is not easy. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. So we are going to get started. Again, I want to thank you all for tuning in to PC Ministries Thursday Night Live. PC Ministries deals with what you feel from the inside out. I am not coming to you because I have it all together or because I have arrived or because I have all of the answers. Coming to you merely off of experience, anointing, and a heart for the things of God and a heart for the heart of others. Dealing with what we feel from the inside out, because a lot of times we deal with a lot of stuff, especially with, you know, as you can tell with the suicide of Twitch. You know, people are dealing with a lot of stuff on the inside. People may look fine and happy and well on the outside, but people are dealing with a lot on the inside that you may never know because we put up a good front, or because we appear to be happy, or we appear to have money, or we appear to have it all. And a lot of times that's not enough for some people. So again, PC Ministries deals with what you feel from the inside out, and that's what all of these topics. If you go back through the videos on the PC Ministries page, go back through those videos and look at those topics, and you'll kind of see the aim and the goal of PC Ministry is to create a thought-provoking topics to make you think and make you locate yourself, make you take accountability for your own self, your thoughts, and you know, your actions, and anything. You know, we deal with traumas, we deal with thoughts, we deal with relationships, we deal with all kind of things, and whatever God lays on my heart, is what I talk about on PC Ministries Thursday Night Live. So thank you all for tuning in. Hey, Wendy, thank you all for liking the page. Thank you all for following the page. Now, I don't quite understand the liking and the following and all that, so please make sure you are liking the page, and you also follow the page so you can see, because a lot of people say they miss the lives or they don't know about the lives. So I don't know how to tell you to, I guess I don't know if there's a notification button. I would have to research that and see, so you can see when I'm going live. But PC Ministries Thursday Night Live is every Thursday at 8 p.m. So if it's not going to be on, I'll do a post so you'll know that it's not going to be on. But most of the time, we are here every Thursday night at 8 p.m. So there you have it. So set your calendars, set your phone, set a reminder so you can be reminded that she's on Thursdays at 8 p.m. All right. So with that being said, thank you all for tuning in. I'm going to jump right into our subject. I have, through requests and a lot of people reaching out to me, inbox, phone, what have you, about unforgiveness. They wanted me to continue with some more teaching and some more sharing on the subject of forgiveness and unforgiveness. Now, a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, we did, I think we did forgiveness. Forget what we talked about, the harboring unforgiveness. And then the week after that, we did the root of unforgiveness, where we talk about how the root, what are the root causes to your unforgiveness, and what the root is. A root is the thing that supplies nourishment to, your unforgiveness. Kind of like the root of a plant, how it hey Emily, Miss Emily, how are you? How the root of a plant supplies nourishment to the plant to allow the plant the proper setting, soil and all that to grow. So we put that with the root of unforgiveness. What root did you have embedded deep into your system and your heart and your soul that is nourishing your unforgiveness and keeping you in a place? Okay, and that was the root of unforgiveness. And then last week, I talked about raising our level of expectations, which was really good, because an expectation is a firm belief that something will happen. So that's what we talked about last week. And then I had a lot of people saying, can you go back to forgiveness? Can you go back to forgiveness? So I prayed about it, and God said, let's talk about the power in forgiveness. There's so much power in forgiveness. And again, I'm a transformation coach. So I coach a lot of women. I've been mentoring women for years. I know people think I just came on the scene. I've been on the scene for a long time, just have not been out of the front and doing videos and things like that. So this is new to me. But I'm not new to this. I've been doing this for a long time. And there are a lot of us, women and men, that are dealing with unforgiveness, the spirit of unforgiveness. And, forgiveness is hard. It is hard when you've been done wrong. You've been used, abused, mistreated, betrayed, whatever the reasons for you not wanting to forgive or not being able to forgive. Some of that stuff is justified. Some of that stuff is hurtful. Some of it's traumatic. And it's very hard to forgive people when they have done you wrong, or abused you, or misused you, or betrayed you. Family, friends, spouses, exes, children. I mean, whoever it is, sometimes we're justified in how we feel. But the problem that comes with that is when that unforgiveness is turning into bitterness and hatred and anger, and it's running our life, it's running our activities, it's running how we respond to people, it's running our attitude. It's running us. And that's where the issue is coming up to, because the Bible tells us to forgive anyway, because God so freely forgave us. So we have to forgive. Now, that, like I said earlier, forgiveness is hard. Forgiveness is also a choice. Forgiveness is a choice. You can choose to forgive, and you can choose not to forgive. The choice is yours. But for those of us that struggle with forgiveness, that where it's really hard, we have to kind of dig down and get to the root of why it's so hard. But I wanted to share tonight about the power. Y'all, there is so much power and freedom in choosing to forgive. Again, I said I have my personal page on my computer, and then I have my PC Ministries page on my phone, and then I have my notes on my other laptop. So I'm going to be looking like this, y'all, but don't worry about that. Just get in with me, and y'all engage with me. Yeah, put your thoughts and your statements and comments in the comment section so I can see, because I save these videos and people go back and watch the replay every week, and they watch these things. So if you have anything and where you have overcome forgiveness and you've been able to forgive, or you have a recipe of how you forgive, put it in the comments, because it helps people. You may not ever know, you may not ever hear it, but people read these comments and they look at these videos on their own time, and they could gain something and put it in their toolbox, put it in their heart that they can use that will help them. So put it in the comments, put your questions in the comments. Anything that you have that's encouraging and supportive of this topic, put it in the comments. And this is for men as well, because men deal with unforgiveness as well. So like I said earlier, there is so much power in forgiving, so much power. But like I said, forgiveness is a choice. And when we refuse to forgive, we'll put it like this, we often, I'm going to read my notes over here, we often refuse to forgive because we feel that not forgiving is a payback. Make that make sense? We talked about this in the other forgiveness topics, but how does not forgiving someone, how is that a payback? What are you gaining? Like, what are you earning by not forgiving someone and wanting them to, again, that saying that they say, holding on to unforgiveness is like drinking poison and you expecting the other person to die. It's not harming them. It is not. It's harming you. Unforgiveness tortures us more than it tortures the other person, and it keeps us emotionally stuck to the offense and the offender. So if you are still angry at an ex, or an old co-worker on an old job, or a friend who did something years ago, it stifles your emotions. It kind of controls your emotions, and it keeps you stuck to whatever that situation was, whatever that issue was, whatever that hurt, trauma, betrayal, whatever the reason for you not wanting to forgive, it keeps you stuck in that place, so you don't get to move forward. A continual refusal to forgive digs a deep hole in your heart. That's what it does. It digs a hole in your own heart when you don't forgive. And again, forgiveness is a choice. You can get over some things and choose to forgive. And I'm not saying it's easy. That is not what I'm saying. Forgiveness is hard because you do have to kind of get over some things and move forward. And it's even harder when you have to deal with the people that you need to forgive. It's even harder. It's even harder. Practicing forgiveness can have powerful health benefits. Again, tonight we're talking about the power of unforgiveness. We're talking about the power to forgive. Some studies suggest that forgiveness is associated with lower levels of depression. It can help you out of depression. It can help you out of anxiety, hostility. You can have a reduced substance abuse. Some people are dealing with so much unforgiveness that they turn to substance abuse because they can't handle the thoughts, or they can't handle it. So they turn to substance abuse and other things. And you don't deserve that. You don't deserve that. Some people turn to suicide. And your life is you have so much value in your life. You have so much value. And if you are, for one side note, thinking about suicide and you don't feel that you have anything to live for, honey, that is not true. The enemy is a liar. He is cunning and he is deceitful. The enemy's job is to steal, kill, and destroy. You have so much to live for. You have so many people that are in your corner, and do not allow the enemy to feed you that lie that you are not worth it, that you'll never get out of what you're in, or stuck in a rut. Just think about some things that you've gotten out of that you didn't think you would get out of. You have so much life to live. You have so much life to give. You know, you are more valuable than the situation that you're in is making you feel. So do not give in to your feelings. Do not give in to the emotions of your situation. You have so much power. You have so much life. You have so much purpose. I mean, it's you have so much to live for, and you can't make a permanent decision like that in a temporary state. We all go through things, and I'm not saying that whatever you're going through that's making you think about suicide is not hard. I'm not saying that, but I'm just trying to encourage you and let you know that you have so much more to live for. You have so much more to give than this temporary state of mind that you're in. And I advise you, admonish you to reach out to someone, a pastor, a friend, a sibling, a mother, a counselor, a therapist, a transformation coach, somebody. Let them know what you're thinking so we can help you. We can get you some help. We can support you. We can motivate you and encourage you. Okay, so please, please don't go that route. You're worth more than that. You're worth more than that. And again, we're talking about the power of forgiveness tonight. You know, where forgiving can raise your self-esteem and give you a greater life and satisfaction of life. So those are just a few things of the power, a few of the powers of forgiveness. Some have defined forgiveness as a conscious, deliberate decision to release feelings of resentment or vengeance toward a person or a group who has harmed you, regardless of whether they actually deserve your forgiveness. Now that's the hard part. Some people that we have to forgive, they're not even sorry. So why do we need to forgive them? That's the hard part. Some people we have to forgive. You're not going to ever get a I'm sorry or an apology or a changed behavior. So what do? What do? Do you just not forgive? Again, you not forgiving this person is not doing anything to them. They're going to still have the same behavior, still hurt you, bother you, betray you, lie on you, whatever it is they do, they're going to still do that. So why are you holding on to what they did when that's who they are? The way people treat us, the way people have treated you, and the things they have done has nothing to do with you. Now, sometimes it does have something to do with you, and I say that because a lot of times people treat us the way they do because we allow it. That's what I mean by that. You teach people how to treat you. You do not have to stay in a person's life that's not treating you the way you deserve to be treated. You see? So I'm saying you have to make that distinct disconnect from allowing people to treat you a certain way. I'm trying to read you what you're saying, Felicia. Felicia said, but it can be hard. Forgive and try to move on and drop the yes. Yes, and that's why expectation, raising our level of expectation that we talked about last week is very key in dealing with forgiveness, because a lot of time we have reason we can't forgive someone is because we have placed a lot of expectation in that relationship, in whatever our relationship is with them, whether it's co-worker, friend, sibling, or whatever. We have placed a lot of expectation and a lot of trust into that relationship, and when it's betrayed or broken or didn't really work out, we're hurt. We're hurt because we don't understand, or we can't believe that this person did this, or this group of people did this, or whatever it is. We can't believe it, and we're shocked. But we can't allow that to run our life, and that's what's happening. It's running our lives, and it's dictating our actions, it's dictating our behaviors and our thoughts and stuff like that, and that's what's not healthy. Again, we're talking about power of forgiveness. Forgiveness is the action or process of forgiving or being forgiven. Okay, it's a process. It's a process. Now, I want to give a disclaimer, because just because we are just as important as we're defining what forgiveness is, I want to also I want us to understand what forgiveness is not. Okay, because I got a lot of questions, meaning, why do I have to deal with this person after I've forgiven them? Alicia said the guilt as well. What you discuss, yes, that'll keep us, the loyalty. Yeah, the loyalty of, because of this person, we're loyal to this person, and that keeps us in these relationships, and we don't have to do that. We don't have to do that. We don't have to do that. Okay, so like I said, I want to give this disclaimer. Just as we are defining what forgiveness is, I want us to make sure we understand what forgiveness is not. When you forgive, you don't gloss over or deny the seriousness of what someone did to you. That's not what we're talking about. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting, nor does it mean condoning or excusing what people do. Though forgiveness can help repair a damaged relationship, when we forgive, it can help it can help repair relationships from our end. It has a way of doing that with the right people who are truly sorry, and it's reciprocated. It can heal damaged relationships or repair. It doesn't obligate you to reconcile with a person who harmed you or release them from their accountability. So just because we forgive somebody, it doesn't mean that we have to reconcile with them, or we have to continue to be around them, or we have to still deal with them. That's not what forgiveness is. That's not what it is. If somebody is not sorry, and they're not changing, and you have voiced what you needed to voice to them, and they're not changing, or they're not, then you can forgive them, because again, forgiveness is for you. Forgiveness releases you, not them. It releases you. So you can forgive them, but you don't have to deal with them. Okay? If you go around them and you give them the opportunity, like I gave a short testimony when I did forgiveness a couple weeks ago. I forgave someone, and I wanted to give the relationship a chance. And while I was doing that on several occasions, they had the same behavior. They were exemplifying the same tone towards me, or the same demeaning, and I was always left feeling, the same way. So, after I made the decision to give it a chance, and it wasn't changing, and this was over a period of time. It wasn't like this one time. I let it go. I forgive them. I don't have any bitterness. If I see them, I speak if they speak, but I don't have to be around them. So just because we forgive doesn't mean we excuse or we condone what they did, especially if there's no apology. It doesn't mean that we have to reconcile or release them from what they did. Now, the releasing part is tricky, because forgiveness is a release. You don't want to hold them accountable to something that you're holding on to, that's holding and harboring the unforgiveness. You want to release it, forgive, and let it go. And you don't have to talk about it. You don't have to go around and tell everybody what happened, blah, blah, blah. Release yourself. Now, if you find yourself constantly talking to somebody about it over and over, that means you haven't really forgiven, because you're still talking about it. And a lot of times when we're like that, we're still hurt. We're still hurt by it, So if you find yourself doing that, or bringing up, or like if someone say, how's so and so doing, and that's the person that you had an issue with, your remark is sarcastic, or kind of discordish, or you immediately answer and then go into what happened and blah 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 blah, that means you're not really healed from that, and you haven't really forgiven. A lot of times you'll know when you have forgiven someone because when that person's name comes up or that person's Facebook page comes up or Instagram page comes up, or you see that person or what have you, somebody's talking about that person, you don't get sick to your stomach, or you don't get, all, you know how we get on the inside. You may not show it on the outside, but you won't get how you get on the inside. That means you are moving towards your healing from that situation. Okay, so I encourage us to continue to move to that, because again, there is power in forgiveness. Power is the ability to do something or act in a particular way, the capacity or ability to directly influence behavior. Again, forgiveness is a choice, and we're talking about the power in forgiveness. And the power is the capacity or ability to directly influence your behavior. That means I have the power within me to forgive. I influence my own behavior. I have the capacity to do that if I want to. And a lot of times we can't because we're not healed or we haven't got over something. You have to address what that issue is. Again, we talked about the root of unforgiveness. You have to get to the root. What is nourishing your reason for not forgiving? What is nourishing? What is feeding your anger? What is feeding your bitterness? What is feeding your jealousy? What is feeding it? And you have to cut it at the root so that thing can die. A plant cannot live if it doesn't have a root or a source of nourishment or a source of nurturing. It can't. So you have to find out what your root of unforgiveness is, what is feeding it, and cut it. And cut it. Again, we have the capacity to directly influence our behavior. That's a definition of power. Power is also to supply with energy, to move with great speed or force. We have power. We can supply ourselves with the power that we need to forgive. Forgiveness brings you peace of mind and frees you from corrosive anger. When I read that, I looked up corrosive. And y'all, come on, y'all know how I like definitions and how I like to bring things and make it like relatable to what we're going through. Letting go of deeply held negative feelings will empower you to recognize the pain you suffered without letting that pain define you. Let me read that again, y'all. Y'all, that's good. That is good. When I read it, I was like, oh, it's in my notes, but I had to write that down. Listen, forgiveness brings you peace of mind and frees you from corrosive anger. We're going to talk about corrosive anger in a minute. Letting go of deeply held negative feelings will empower you to recognize the pain you suffered without letting that pain define you. Again, dealing with unforgiveness and holding on to it is defining us. And I know we don't think about how we are allowing that to define us when we're holding on to the unforgiveness. When I refuse to forgive somebody, I'm not thinking about how holding on to that is defining me. I'm only thinking about what they did to me and what happened, what the issue was. I'm not thinking about it's defining me. And think about it. Think about an area that you are not forgiving someone or something in. It's defining you. And I know that's not what you want. I know that's not what you want. So if we don't want to allow that pain to define us, if we stop that, it will enable us to move on with our life. And whether you think so or not, staying with that pain, you're not moving. You're not moving forward. You might be moving and doing stuff, but you're not moving forward with your life. You're not moving on with your life. Those of us and those of you that have not forgiven an ex, that have moved on with their life, why are you stuck? Ask yourself that question. Ask yourself that question. Ask yourself. There could be some reasons why you're stuck. There's some things that you are allowing. Get to the root of why you feel like you're stuck. Okay, so you can move on with your life as well. Now let's talk about this corrosive anger, y'all. You know I like definitions. So when I looked up corrosive, corrosive is to cause corrosion. Okay, I'm like, well, that don't really define what corrosion is. So I looked up corrosion. Corrosion, it says damage caused by corrosion. Okay, so I kept going. Then I found this definition. It says the deterioration and loss of a material and its critical properties due to reactions of the exposed with the surrounding environment. Okay, so let me break this down. Corrosion is damage caused by the deterioration and loss of a material and its critical properties due to reactions of the exposed with the surrounding environment. So the deterioration caused and the loss caused by you holding on to for unforgiveness, you choosing not to forgive, is causing your heart, your mind, your body to corrode because you're holding on to it, which is making you exposed to whatever it is that you don't want to forgive. As long as you stay exposed to that, as long as you deal with that, as long as you allow yourself to harbor the unforgiveness, and just stay in that place of unforgiveness and bitterness and envy and all of that, you are corroding your heart. You know, that's what that's deterioration. You are deteriorating on the inside. Okay, it's a slow eating. Corrosion is also the slow eating of metals layer by layer due to the reaction with the present corrosion. So as long as we hold on to the unforgiveness, as long as we refuse to forgive, as long as we don't deal with the root of our unforgiveness, it's slowly eating away layer by layer of our heart, layer by layer of our minds, layer by layer of our organs. I mean, it causes all kind of sicknesses and things like that. So when we refuse to forgive, or we stay in that state of unforgiveness, it causes damage to our system, our hearts and minds. It slowly eating us up layer by layer because we stay in this spirit of unforgiveness. Y'all, you don't deserve that. We don't deserve that. So if you find yourself in this place and you sit and you think about what we're talking about, get some help. Sometimes we can't do this on our own. Sometimes we need therapy. Sometimes we need counseling. We need to talk to a pastor, talk to a transformation coach. I'm here. You know, I help you deal with what you feel from the inside out. Sometimes we need help. We need support to be able to get over some of these hurtful things. So if you find out that you can't do this by yourself, get some help. Talk to somebody. Talk to a friend, a family member you can trust, a friend you can trust. Like I said, a therapist, a counselor, a transformation coach, a mentor, pastor's wife. Talk to somebody so you can begin to get to the bottom of why you can't forgive. So let me ask you this. What is causing corrosion in your heart? What is causing damage to your heart as it pertains to what you can't forgive or who you can't forgive? Like corrosion is a deterioration and loss. Again, we're talking about the power of forgiveness. There's power in forgiveness. And you don't want to have loss of heart, hardened heart, and your mind just so bitter. What is causing that? That is causing your mind to deteriorate. You're losing. You're losing. You're losing. What corrosion is making you hold on to unforgiveness? What damage is being caused in your life by you holding on to unforgiveness? Think about it. Think about it. What have you lost? We talked about forgiveness a couple weeks ago. How people who who deal with unforgiveness they lose families, they lose marriages, friendships, relationships because they can't forgive. So what in you is making you hold on to it? Why can't you let it go? Why can't you forgive? Again, we got to get to the root because it's corroding our system. It's corroding our hearts, our mind. It's causing damage and loss. And the more and more we stay in it, the more and more we allow ourselves to deal with unforgiveness, we're losing. We're losing. The anger of unforgiveness. Very often anger is associated with an unforgiving spirit. Many people are angry and don't even realize it. Have y'all met people like that? They're deeply frustrated and upset about past wrongs or past hurts. We've all been wrong before. We've all been hurt before, but we have to make sure we're not staying in that past dealing with that. You don't have to forget, but you got to forgive. You got to get to the place, like I said, is forgiveness is a process. You don't forget. I'm not saying you're going to forget. It's hard to just forget, but you do have to forgive because forgive releases you, and forgiving gets you further and further away from to where you will be able to forget, and it's faint and it's not as loud and present as it used to be because you're forgiving. So that's moving you further and further away from it. People are mad at what happened yesterday and bitter about something that occurred years ago. I mean, I'm 54 years old. I've been out of school, high school, middle school for a long time. Why would I still be mad at somebody that picked on me in middle school? That wronged me in high school? High school? What makes you hold on to that? What makes you hold on to that? What makes a person hold on to what an ex did to them, and you're married with somebody else, but you're still holding on to what the ex did? What makes you hold on to that? And how is that showing up in your present marriage or your present relationship? How is that unforgiveness showing up in your, if you've been betrayed by a friend or whatever, how is that betrayal, that unforgiveness of that betrayal, how are you allowing it to show up in your present relationship? It shows up. So we have to forgive. When we choose to forgive, we release. It releases them. It releases us. It frees us. It's so much power. It is so much power. Are you angry with a coworker, ex-spouse, family member, or friend? The truth is, we all get mad. Like I just said, we all get mad from time to time. But how do you deal with it? How do you free yourself from the bondage of bitterness and unforgiveness? How do we move forward? Thank you, Felicia said a mouthful. Girl, I know. This is a mouthful. I had to read these notes again. How do we move forward from the bondage of bitterness and unforgiveness? It is bondage. It's bondage whether you think about it or not. Again, when we're dealing with unforgiveness, we're not thinking about what it's doing to us. We're thinking about what they did to us. And sometimes we're justified in how we feel. But when we hold on to it and we choose not to forgive, we're allowing bondage, like an emotional bondage. And the more and more we hold on to it, the more and more it corrodes our system. You know, it's not healthy, y'all. It's not healthy. So like I said, why can't you let it go? What kind of freedom, and ask yourself this question as we get ready to close. Ask yourself this question. What kind of freedom will you have if you forgive? Oof. Think about it. Think about that person. Don't put it in the comments or nothing like that. Think about that person, or that you can't forgive, that you're struggling with forgiving. And think about how much power or freedom will you have? Where will it free you if you choose to forgive them? If you choose to let it go? Where will that choosing to forgive them, where would that free you up? Think about it. Would it be freed up in your thoughts and your happiness? Think about it. It's a personal question. It's a personal question. What power will come back to you if you choose to let it go? Because when we don't forgive, when we choose not to forgive, we give whatever that situation, we give that our power. So whoever you don't forgive, they have power over you. Whatever situation you don't forgive has power over you. So think about what power will come back to you. How will you regain power? What power will you regain if you choose to let it go and forgive? What will you gain back? Your power in that area. Again, you have healthier power in forgiveness, will give you healthier relationships, improve mental health, improve anxiety, less anxiety, stress, and hostility, and anger, and bitterness. All of that will begin to decrease, and that's giving you your power back. It also lowers your blood pressure. Some of us got high blood pressure because we're holding on to unforgiveness. We're holding on to things we don't need to hold on to. I'm not saying that's the reason we have high blood pressure. Some of us need to eat right and stop eating wrong and some more stuff, but that's another thing. But it can lower your blood pressure. It also can lessen your depression, your sadness, give you a stronger immune system. Again, holding on to bitterness and unforgiveness, y'all, can cause sickness. It can improve your heart health and your self-esteem. Again, we're talking about the power of forgiveness. There's power when you forgive, like you free yourself from the hold of that bondage of unforgiveness. There is so much power in it. So much power. We break one of the enemy's holds on our lives when we forgive. Y'all, I don't know how else to say. The enemy's job is to steal, kill, and destroy. And fools perish for the lack of knowledge. The enemy is running to and fro, seeking whom he may devour. And he don't care. He will use betrayal. He will use trauma to devour you. He'll use all of that. And he will use unforgiveness to devour you. And we don't think about that. We just think about what they did and what happened and how it affects you. But look at how it's affecting you by holding on to unforgiveness. Look at what that's doing to you. Again, the enemy's job, he goes to and fro, seeking whom he may devour. And he will use the spirit of unforgiveness to devour you. Again, his job, the enemy's job, is to steal, kill, and destroy. And if he can use you to destroy you, if he can use you to kill you, he will. So we have to be cognizant. We have to be aware and mindful of what holding on to unforgiveness is doing to us. Again, God told us to forgive because he so freely forgave us. So we have to forgive. We have to. It's in the Bible. We have to. So we have to, again, it's not easy. It's not easy. It's not. And I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying you got to forgive right now and get over. I'm not saying that. It's a process. But it's a process that can be done because a lot of us have forgiven. A lot of us is working the process of forgiveness. You're not by yourself. You're not by yourself. I'm not speaking on something that I've only read. I've researched it to come up, to give us this teaching. But I forgive. I have forgiven and I forgive. So this is experience as well. And the process of forgiveness is over and over. Is over and over. Because a lot of times, like I said earlier, it's hard to forgive someone who's not sorry. Yes, Melissa, help me, Lord, to forgive. That's a daily prayer, weekly prayer. When I come up against something that triggers that unforgiveness in me, that's the first thing I do is like, Lord, help me. Help me not to go there in my mind. Help me not to rehash. Help me to not go back to and pull up all. See, we have to control that. And that's, again, we're talking about the power of forgiveness. The power. There is power. And what you said, Melissa, help me, Lord, to forgive. That's the first step to regaining our power. Because when we refuse to forgive, or we don't work on forgiveness, we give the thing that we are not forgiving, the person or people or groups or whatever that we refuse to forgive, they have the power, not us. So we're trying to get our power back in the area of forgiveness. There is power. I'm telling you, I have personally experienced the power of forgiveness. I have personally experienced the power of forgiveness when people weren't sorry, when they showed you they weren't sorry. I have personally experienced the power and forgiveness of people who not gonna say they're sorry, for people who didn't even have changed behavior. So I know this works. I know this works. And when I chose to forgive, they didn't change. Not all of them. Some people, when you go and you talk about the expectations of the relationship or what have you, hey, Jamera, a lot of people, a lot of them don't change because they don't care, or they're not at the place in their life to where they, they're dealing with that. But because you're dealing with yourself and you're trying to grow and evolve, and you are working on it, that doesn't necessarily mean they're gonna change their behavior because you forgave. Like I said earlier, forgiveness does not mean you have to deal with them. Forgiveness does not mean you condone or you have to put up with their behavior. Forgiveness is for you. It releases you from them, and it releases them. But that doesn't mean you have to deal with them. You can forgive, but you don't have to deal with them. Okay, so I'm not saying just because you forgive, you got to go and be a doormat. I'm not saying that at all. Not at all, because I've forgiven people and I don't deal with them. Family, friends, and all. If I don't feel the way I need to feel, or the relationship is no longer serving me because of whatever happened or whatever, I don't have to deal with you, but I forgive you. Because I know forgiveness frees me. Because God forgave me. And I have offended God numerous times. I have wronged God numerous times, and He forgives me every time. So He gives us the example of how we are to forgive. And if God can do it, He came and He was an example to do it when He was walking and He was carrying His cross. What did He say? What did God say as they were beating Him, y'all? He asked God. What did Jesus say when they were beating Him and ripping Him as He was carrying His cross? He said, God, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Now, if that don't hit your heartstrings right there, I don't know what else will. And a lot of times we're dealing with people who are not putting their hands on us. They're just talking about us, or they just did us wrong with an action or something like that, but they're not putting their hands on us. We ain't bleeding. It just hit our pride or our ego or our emotions or our heart or stuff like that, which is still rough. But nobody ripping, breaking collarbones and shoulders and beating us as we carrying our cross. They're talking about us as we carry our cross. They're using us as we carry our cross. They're betraying us as we carry our cross. But we ain't got no bloodshed. So if God can say, if Jesus can say, God forgive them, for they know not what they do, and He's our example, it's just a little power. There's power in forgiveness, y'all. Power. Again, we break the enemy's hold over our lives when we choose to walk in forgiveness. Satan and his forces wants us to be angry. He wants us to be bitter, unforgiving, and seeking revenge. When we forgive, it dislodges us from that hold or that stronghold or that bondage of unforgiveness. It releases us from anger, bitterness, unforgiveness. It releases us from that when we choose to forgive. And again, it's a process. It doesn't just happen overnight sometimes. It's a process. It's a process. But like Melissa Schuler said on here, help me, Lord, to forgive. That's where it starts. And if you ask God to help you forgive and allow him room and space in your heart and mind to do so, he'll do it. And that takes me to this right here. Colossians 1:11. Praise. This is a prayer that we be strengthened with all power according to God's glorious might, so we can attain every kind of endurance and patience with joy. So see, we can ask God. This is Colossians 1:11. It's praying that we be strengthened with power. Power. We be strengthened with power to forgive. See how we can make the scripture ours? We can make the scripture apply to us. Colossians 1:11, that we be strengthened with all power. And I'm going to add, I'm not adding words to the scriptures, so don't call the saints. Colossians 1:11 prays that we be strengthened with all power to forgive. Again, we're talking about the power of forgiveness. This power according to God's glorious might, that we can get the joy and the patience and the endurance that our lives that we deserve. So like Melissa said, Lord, help me to forgive. Colossians 1:11 is praying for us that we are strengthened with this power to help us forgive. Let me read Proverbs 3. I found this very interesting. I was just looking for scripture because a lot of times when we can't do it on our own, we need the word. The word will help you if you read it and apply it and figure out how to apply the word to your situation. Like the word, don't take stuff out and move it because it's hard. No, read it and don't be scared of it, because a lot of times the word gonna make you do something. It's gonna we pointing at them, but the word gonna go like this. Ask me how I know. I'm gonna sip tea. But let me read Proverbs 3 as we get ready to close. Read all the Proverbs, but I'm gonna start at 5 because again, like I said earlier, we're trying to forgive on our own, and a lot of times we can't. But if you read Proverbs 3 and 5, I'm starting at 5, I'm going through 8. Verse 5 says, trust in, I think this is the Amplified version. Proverbs 3 and 5 through 8. Trust in and rely confidently on the Lord with all of your heart, and do not rely on your own insight or understanding. In all your ways, know and acknowledge and recognize him, and he will make your path straight and smooth, removing obstacles that block your way. Do not be wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord with reverent awe and obedience, and turn entirely away from evil. I'm going to say turn entirely away from unforgiveness, because it will be healthy to your body, your marrow, your nerves, your muscles, all of that, all your inner parts, and a refreshment to your bones. I encourage you to read Proverbs 3. You can start at 1, but I started at 5 through 8. And just apply this to you regaining your power to forgive. Again, it says trust in the Lord. You're trying to forgive, trust in the Lord. Don't rely on your own self, because again, we're dealing with flesh. And our flesh, it don't want nothing from God. Our flesh don't want the word. Our flesh want the earthly, the worldly things. Our flesh want to be petty. Our flesh want to operate in unforgiveness because it hits your flesh. Okay, it's saying don't and do not rely on your own insight or understanding. Sometimes we can't even see it because we're hurt. Sometimes we can't because we're going off of feelings. So it's telling us don't rely on your own insight or your understanding, because we don't understand it sometimes. We don't understand why they did us the way they did us, or so on and so forth. We don't understand it. So it's telling us do not rely on your own insight or understanding, saying in all your ways acknowledge and recognize God, and he will make the path straight. Like Melissa said, and I keep saying it because that's perfect. She said, help me, Lord, to forgive. That's acknowledging God. So when we do that, we cast our care on God, Because he said in the word, he will perfect those things that concern us. So if this is concerning you, that thing that you can't forgive, or that person you can't forgive, or what have you, cast your cares on God, because he cares for you, and he will perfect the things that concern you. And then, like it says, he will make your path straight, removing all obstacles that block your way. Don't be wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord and turn entirely away from evil. Turn entirely away from unforgiveness. This is how we can get to the power of forgiveness. It will be healthy to your body. Y'all, this is in the word. This is Proverbs 3. It will be healthy to your body, your inner parts, and a refreshing to your bones. Nicole Thomas says, what about forgiveness, but not dealing with the person ever again? And like I said earlier, if you listen, go back to the beginning, you can forgive someone. And I'm telling you from experience, you can forgive someone, but what forgiveness is not, is making you feel like you have to be a doormat. A lot of times we stay loyal to people because of a relationship, family members, parents, baby daddies, mama, whatever. We stay loyal because of a connection, and people do you wrong over and over and over. Like I said, I have forgiven people who are not sorry. That's hard, because they're clearly not sorry. They clearly don't care. But we have to forgive. Again, Nicole, forgiveness frees us. I'm not sure if you're asking that question or you're making a statement, because you said, what about forgiveness, but not dealing with that person ever again? You don't have to deal with them. But like the scripture here said, lean not to your own understanding and allow God to make your path straight, to remove every obstacle. Okay? And he says, in all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path, and it will be healthy unto you. So when we do that, when we allow God in the situation, he will give you the peace. He will give you the formula, like the process that you need to do. Okay, you ask some question. Okay, God will give you the way to do it. Okay, because again, like we talked about a couple of weeks ago, we talked about the root of unforgiveness. When you forgive someone, what draws you back to them? Like this person that you can't forgive, what draws you back to them? And you know they're not sorry. So, like I said earlier tonight, I said, I want to make sure that what forgiveness is not. Like forgiveness is freeing, but what forgiveness is not, when you forgive, you don't gloss over or deny the seriousness of what they did. That doesn't mean you forget. That's not what that means. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting. It does not mean condoning or excusing what they did. Okay? That's not what it means. Just because someone did something to you and we have to forgive, it don't mean you forget what they did. It doesn't mean you excuse their behavior. Like I said, I have forgiven people who were not sorry, but I still forgave, because again, when we choose not to forgive, or it runs our life. It runs our life. So no, you don't have to deal with them. Like I said, I gave the testimony earlier. I forgave a friend, and I wanted to give the relationship. It was a female. I wanted to give the relationship a chance to rebuild, a chance to heal. So I allowed ourselves to kind of be friends and hang or whatever. And I just noticed that when we talked about it, we talked about the expectations of the relationship prior to this and all of that. And she knew where I expressed to her that what hurt and how I was feeling, and we talked about it. But in the repairing of the relationship and me giving the relationship a chance to heal and move forward, she came off like she didn't even care how I felt, or she was exemplifying the same behavior as before, or she was still making me feel the way I was feeling as a result of our interactions, our relationship. So, and it was over a period of time. I didn't just say one and done. I wanted to give her a chance to respect how she was making me feel, respect you know, my expectations in the relationship, I was respecting hers. And she just was not. Like, it was like she didn't care. So, although I forgave her, I cut it. And I went the other way. She wasn't worth me trying to salvage when she wasn't sorry. But I forgave her. And how I know I forgave her is that when her name was brought up, or when I saw her, I didn't sow discord. I didn't try to damage her character or her integrity by telling people what she did and how she treated me. No, I was done. And that's how I know I had healed from that situation, and I truly forgave her because I wasn't talking about it. I wouldn't, every time I saw her, every time I scrolled past her Facebook page, I wouldn't. So yeah, you don't have to deal with that person. You don't have to. Now, if that person comes to you and they apologize or they tell you they're sorry, accept their apology. And even then, you still don't have to deal with them. That's your choice. But you just have to make sure that you're not operating in resentment, that you're not harboring any bitterness. Okay? So just make sure that you're being pure and you're being honest to you on the inside. Again, we can put up a good front, but we can harbor some things on the inside that people won't know that we're harboring. So just be true to yourself. Be true to your forgiveness. Be true to why you don't want to deal with that person. And you don't have to. And I stand flat foot and say that because I operate in that. And I do my best not to harbor unforgiveness. I do my best not to hold on to forgiveness because it's not healthy. It is not healthy. It does nothing for us. And people hold on to unforgiveness as a payback. Payback to who? You know, so again, unforgiveness tortures us more and keeps us emotionally stuck to the offense. And we don't deserve that. We don't deserve that. Again, read Proverbs 3. Read the whole thing. Read 1 through 8. I read Proverbs 3, 5 through 8 because it actually helps bring this in for us. Again, forgiveness is hard, but it's doable. It's doable. You can forgive. You have to get to the place to where you want to forgive. Forgiveness is not about how you feel. Forgiveness, I got something on that right here. Oh, right here. Forgiveness is not based on your feelings. It is not conditional. Forgiveness, y'all listen to this, and we're going to get ready to close. Forgiveness is not conditional. It is very much unconditional because it is not based on what they do or don't do, or even if they deserve to be forgiven. So, you know, I pray, you know, y'all look, I think Travia says she's going to look at the replay. Y'all look at this replay, pray and ask God to help you with forgiveness. Again, if you get to a place to where you're trying to forgive and you realize you can't do this on your own, talk to somebody. Talk to a therapist, a counselor, or pastor's wife, a friend, family member that you can trust, or contact me. I'm a transformation coach. I help people deal with what they feel from the inside out. Again, if you want to book me as your transformation coach, and I do have clients that have done a few reviews, if you want a reference of my services, I have people that will let you know on their own terms of my services. But book me as your transformation coach and we can get this thing going. There's a book me button on my PC Ministries page, and we can talk about, you know, what we need to do. But I do have some openings. I have 3 openings right now for the week. I have a couple of spots that just ended, coachings that just ended after their 10 weeks. So I have 3 openings during the week right now. So reach out to me. Let's talk about the things. Again, PC Ministries deals with what you feel from the inside out. Okay, we have to get to the bottom of this. Thank you for discussing this issue because this subject is a struggle for me. With Nicole, keep going. You're not in this by yourself. Trust me, you are not the only one struggling with forgiveness. We just have to go back and look at my video. Go back in my videos and look at the video where I talked about the root of unforgiveness. It talks about getting to the root of why we struggle to forgive, and what in us is feeding that reason for not forgiving. It's really good. And then if you want to talk some more, reach out to me, y'all. This is what I do. This is what, my God-given talent is to help people deal with what they feel from the inside out. So with that being said, I thank you all for tuning in. Please go back and look at the other videos. Melissa says, thank you. It helped me out a lot on trying to forgive. I'm glad I joined. I'm so glad. Thank you so much. Be encouraged, y'all. Again, forgiveness is hard. I am not telling you that it's easy. It is a process. It is a process, but like Colossians said, we can be strengthened with all power according to his glorious might, that we can have that endurance, patience, and joy if we give it to him. You're not alone. There's help for you, but you have to forgive, because again, it frees us. It does. And I'm not telling you what I read. I'm telling y'all what I know. I'm telling y'all what I know. It does. And again, like I said earlier, and I'll keep saying it, I have forgiven people that were not sorry. I have people in my life right now that I've forgiven that are not sorry. They pretend like everything is hunky-dory and they ain't never did nothing or whatever, and they ain't apologized. They act like I'm the issue. Okay, whatever makes you feel good. So I can share some ways, reach out to me. I can share some ways, more specific things that I have done that helps me forgive. I don't have it all in the bag, and there are some areas that I still I'm human, but I also ask God to give me strength. Okay? I lean not to my own understanding. I'm not trying, and just understand that forgiveness frees you. Forgiveness will free your mind. The more and more you do it, the more and more it presents itself. And let me tell y'all how God works. When you operate in forgiveness, God will going to give you the opportunity to forgive, so you can practice. It's just like going to school. You're learning, you take a test. If you don't pass the test, you might have to go back and study some more. It's kind of like that, because forgiveness is repetition. You have to learn how to do it. You have to learn how to do it for you. What works for you? What works for you in your mind and your thought pattern? Because it goes off of your history. It goes off of your trauma. It goes off of your root of unforgiveness. Whatever that root goes, where it goes off of that. So everybody's situation is different. Everybody's outcome is different. Everybody's process is different. But I stand before you tonight, or I sit before y'all tonight, telling you that it's possible, because I do it. I've done it. I do it, and I'm going to continue to do it because it frees me and it pleases God. So I thank you all for tuning in. Go back and look at the videos where I talked about the root of unforgiveness a couple of weeks ago, and that'll help you understand the roots and all of that. And reach out to me if you all have any questions. Thank you all for tuning in. Next Thursday night, December the 22nd, a couple days before Christmas, we'll be back, and I may do some more unforgiveness. We'll see. So thank you all for tuning in. Have a beautiful Thursday night. Have a wonderful weekend, and I love y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in.